Hello, everyone. My name is Kareem Villaseñor, and today I'm going to be talking about neural networks and machine learning. It's one of the most powerful pieces of technology that is being developed and utilized for AI, and it is being used for many things such as image recognition or speech processing. And they're very powerful tools that we can learn to utilize to be able to do jobs that a person can't do by hand and instead have a neural network perform it for you. In this presentation, I will explore what neural networks are, their purpose, and the process behind them, and how weights and neurons come together to make them work. Okay, so the big question, what is a neural network? So, a neural network is a model that's inspired by the way the human mind works. It consists of multiple layers and neurons that make up the model. But before we figure out what a neural network is, we need to figure out what a neuron and what layers are. So, a neuron in this example is just a unit that holds a value between 0 to 1, and it holds some type of weight that leads to activation or output. And layers are multiple layers of neurons that consist of three main layers: the input layer, the hidden layers, and then the output layers. And although it may seem complicated, this system can be shown to be very effective at problem solving and determining things that a human brain would be able to determine. Okay, so what is the purpose of the neural network in this example? So, this is a network that was created to take images of numbers and identify what number it is utilizing AI. Neural networks are better than normal programming because the machine itself has to learn through trial and error, utilizing multiple pictures of the numbers in order to determine which number they are seeing. So, by giving the network large amounts of data, it is able to adjust its parameters and improve the performance over time. This means that the network is doing what a human would do and it would improve over time and start to behave more human like, or in the sense of processing information that you visually see. Now, let's go through the neural network process. So, first, we start off with the first step in the process. So, the network processes an image. In this example, the image will be the number 9, or the number 8, or the number 4, which are hand drawn pictures of the numbers. It will then assign weights to the neurons and start placing them into multiple layers, being the initial layers, the hidden layers, and then the final layers. The neural network will then proceed to give its result on what number it thinks it is, and if it is correct, then it will take that into consideration for the next result. And if it is incorrect, it will adjust the weights of the hand drawn numbers to in order to minimize the error happening again in future examples. The weights of neurons in a neural network are not just simple links, they have weights. And these weights take control of how much influence they have over the system. Each neuron has a activation value, and the activation is the result of applying a function to the weighted sum of the inputs. So the neuron's final purpose is to detect specific patterns that it can utilize in order to yield the correct output. The network will take numbers that are closer to 1 and add them to the neurons when they detect a piece of the drawing here in the number. And if they do not detect any drawing in the picture, then the neuron will go to 0 and it will be in between along the edges of the number. One of the main questions that we ask is why layers? What do the layers do for the neural network? So one of the key features of these neural networks is their layered structure. It allows the network to break down stuff that would normally be more complex and turn it into a more simple and manageable task. As you can see in this image right here, it will take apart a number and separate it into separate parts. It will learn to detect these separate parts and it will compare them to the number that it has been labeled at the start of the neural network. Not only does it take these simple features like edges or corners, but as it moves further through the layers, it'll start recognizing more complex patterns like shapes or texture, and that can help determine which number will be displayed on the output. It is very possible to only utilize one layer, but the main issue with you doing this would be that it would be harder for the neural network to analyze more complex images of numbers. If it has just a simple understanding of what a number looks like, it will create a lot of mistakes and it will take a lot longer to learn from its mistakes. Okay, so let's go back to the neural network process. So, one of the questions that people ask is why is this important? Why do we need to develop a neural network? What's the difference between that and just programming a program to do its thing? And so the main benefit of a neural network is that it can be used to implement multiple other features. Another example of a neural network being utilized for other other tasks would be the utilization of neural networks to decipher audio clips. It would take the audio in as an input and slowly decipher what each and every word is being said in the audio. And this is just one of the many ways that neural networks can be used to further advance civilization. In summary, neural networks are a very powerful tool that was inspired by the brain and its complex way of problem solving. They process information through layers of neurons and they can adjust their weights during their training so that they can start developing patterns and make predictions based on previous examples that they had gone through. As technology continues to advance, neural networks will advance as well, and their applications being used all over the world will become very prominent in very high tech companies. Although neural networks are a very powerful tool, one of the big downsides of neural networks is that they still face ethical and technical challenges that need more work. A neural network cannot determine whether something is the ethical choice to make. All they can do is pick up on patterns that they've seen throughout the many trainings that they've gone through. And this is one thing that in the future can possibly be solved for neural networks. The sky is the limit for AI, and their potential is out of this world. With neural networks, it'll be easier to do very complex tasks that were at some point impossible to do and will now become possible. In future lessons, I will be covering more AI content. So if you liked what you saw, you can follow me at Kareem Villaseñor Chavez, and there will be more videos coming soon.